Being the first new weapon class added in Splatoon 1, Inkbrush has had a storied history. There have been times where it has been one of the best weapons in the game, as well as times where it has been one of the worst. As someone who's been around since pretty much the very beginning, I think it would be fun to go through every single Inkbrush in Splatoon history to figure out which one is the best and which one is the worst. To help me in this endeavour, I am joined by fellow brushmate and YouTuber Chai, but without further ado, let's get ranking some Inkbrushes. Okay, so before I get into this tier list, I do want to make some disclaimers. While most tier lists are about opinions, this one is objective truth given to me upon divine inspiration. Any disagreements anyone has, you're wrong. But I can also just know, okay, both me and Chai are competitive brush players. I've been one-tricking it for 5 years. Never know when to quit. So this tier list is from the perspective of competitive brush players. This does not translate to turf war.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I've been playing Inkbrush for competitively for about a year now, and I used to play it exclusively in turf war for about half a year. So I have a little less experience, but I've played both kits.
Maybe it does apply to turf war then.
Yeah, maybe.
Everything Chai says applies to turf war.
Exactly. I am the #1 turf war legend.
Okay, so the way I want this tier list to work is, right, we're going to be ranking it from worst to best, taking it in turns, ranking which ones we think is the next worst. And I think we're going to order the tiers, just because there's 8 Inkbrushes, potentially 9. Who knows? Who knows what will happen in the next week?
Yeah, this Saturday, absolutely.
And Chai, as you are the guest on this channel, I shall give you the honours of being able to rank what you think the worst Inkbrush kit in all of Splatoon history is.
The worst?
The single worst.
Okay, the single worst?
Mm-hmm.
I think the vanilla kit from Splatoon 2 is the
From
worst.
Splatoon 2? Oh my god.
Either that or the vanilla kit of Splatoon 1. Both of them, not a fan.
Okay, because I was thinking the vanilla kit of Splatoon 1. That's what I was hoping you were saying.
Yeah. I just think, yeah. Okay, I'm good on that one. I was to say both of them I am not a fan of, so absolutely. I'm glad we agree on that one.
Yeah, because this is before Inkbrush got its movement through enemy ink buff.
Yeah, or on grates as well.
Yeah, so this is incredibly slow. The only thing that Inkbrush is actually good for in this game is paint per second, and that's all this kit is designed to do. It's Sprinkler Ink Strike. What is this? What is this kit supposed to do? What is it for? How does this help Inkbrush do things?
Especially when Ink Strike, you have to stop to use it so you can look at the launch pad on your the Wii U screen.
Yeah.
It's doubly as worse because you have to stop moving for a weapon that wants to be up close. So you have to go back and take cover and just die.
It's terrible. It absolutely stops you in your tracks for just using the thing this kit is supposed to do.
Yeah.
And while I have a few complaints about Sprinkler in Splatoon 2 and potentially Splatoon 3 when that kit happens, calling it.
Mm-hmm.
But in Splatoon 1, Sprinkler is so much worse.
Yeah.
It didn't get that buff where it front loaded its paint.
Mm-hmm.
So it just slowly paints over time rather than putting down a bunch of paint at the start and then slowly painting, which just makes it worse.
Yeah, I can see that. And I personally am not a fan of Sprinkler on Inkbrush to begin with, so I think that just kind of dooms it also.
Oh yeah, I will say that for me, when it comes to Inkbrush and sub weapons, I don't care because I don't use them. There's a reason I run 2 subs of Inksaver main on my Nouveau build.
Yeah.
I only use my subs when there's nothing else for me to do, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
The sub is bad. It's not horrendous, though it actually kind of is. No, it's horrendous. It's horrendous.
Yeah. It's it's more hindering the weapon than it is helping it in any way. At least with some of the other subs, it serves a purpose, a function, whereas this one it just slowly passively paints. Which you can paint faster with your main weapon than throwing a sub that's worth 70%.
Inkbrush has the highest paint per second in the entire game. I remember reading somewhere that Inkbrush outpainted 3 Splattershot Juniors, which is incredibly dumb, but I'll take it. So when you add a Sprinkler to that thing, it doesn't actually need the paint, I guess. On top of that though, Sprinkler breaks when you die.
Oh really?
Yeah. Imagine someone puts the Sprinkler on top of the zone on Ramen and they just jump back to spawn. It's just there forever. The only way...
Yeah.
If you're a sploosh, you just can never reach it no matter what. So it kind of needs to break when the player who threw it dies. Otherwise, how do you get rid of some really bad sprinklers? So it's a really bad weapon. It does still have that innate playstyle that Inkbrush has nowadays. It's just so much worse at it as well. You can spam quickly spawn and run in, but you will get caught in enemy ink. And because ink resistance is also a main main slot on your shoes, you can't run stealth jump.
Oh yeah, I forgot that they had that.
Yeah, it's literally everything just coalesces around this kit to make it the worst thing they've ever created.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to put it here. I shall now take the honors of ranking the second worst Inkbrush kit, and it's not Vanilla Brush from Splatoon 2. I'm so sorry.
I think I know what it is.
It's Inkbrush Nouveau.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I was thinking permanent.
No. Okay. Inkbrush Nouveau, it's better than Vbrush. It's definitely better than Vbrush. But like this kit has no reason to exist because first off, it has like one thing to its name, one thing that it can do. It is a light depletion bubble weapon.
Yeah.
That's all it does. And I'm sorry, but Cherry H3 exists. If you want a light depletion bubble weapon, there's Cherry H3. I think there's like a couple others out there as well, but I can't be bothered to look it up. Like, it's fine as a bubble spammer, but you just have so many better options, and it's just not Splatoon 2 Inkbrush where it can run through enemy ink, so all it can do is paint.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I didn't even know that you couldn't run through ink in Splatoon 1, so...
Ooh, someone didn't do their research to the fullest.
My bad.
But I also like to add, like, big bubbler, small bubbler. This is small bubbler. Small bubbler. It's actually like not very synergistic with Inkbrush Nouveau like at all. Because the main benefit is that it's like an invincibility special that lets you keep your main weapon, but it has so much knockback that you're the shortest range weapon in the game. If anyone wants to stop you from shooting them, they just got to shoot at you, and it's not that hard to keep you out of range.
Yeah, okay, I can see why that's bad. Wouldn't Ink Mine though be better in this game because it actually does one shot?
You can't substrafe with Ink Mine, and it is incredibly slow, and you only have one.
Yeah. But the one shot's really funny.
And it doesn't mark people. The amount of times I'd put an ink mine on tower and it one-shot people was insane. But I genuinely, ink mine, when it got, I think it had its cost reduced as well in the transition from Splatoon 1 to 2. Don't fact check me. So you could place like 2 ink mines down and you had enough ink to do it and you can do a lot more with it. And the marking is it's just a genuine buff. Because you weren't getting the one-shot with ink mine. It's funny when it happens, but you're more likely to one-shot people with Sprinkler.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So this kit is just terrible for Inkbrush in every single way. I'm putting it as the second worst because just purely because vanilla is that bad. Do you have anything else you want to say on Nouveau, or do we move on to your next pick?
No, I really don't know anything about Splatoon 1, so I'm not really that that knowledgeable.
So do you want to get the next Splatoon 1 kit out of the way then?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can. I don't think it's that bad in my opinion. I think it looks fire on paper. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what I'm doing. It's the best Splatoon 1 kit, but I'm just going to rename this to Splatoon 1 Lamau. Just purely because...
I feel like if this was in Splatoon 3, though, I feel like this would be kind of fire. I'm not going to lie.
Genuinely, there is a special circle in hell for the person who decided that Inkbrush Nouveau should get Hammer in Splatoon 3, knowing full well that the next season would introduce Kraken. Yeah. The person who decided that, right, they get their own special circle, right? Because it is such an amazing special for Inkbrush. The only issue with okay, there's like a few issues I have with this kit. I'm sorry, I know we said we were taking turns, but I've taken liberties.
No, yeah, I think you should like talk more about the Splatoon 1 kits because you actually played the game.
Fair enough. So this is like absolutely an amazing Splatoon, just Splatoon in general Inkbrush kit. You now have a special that keeps you alive, that isn't useless when you pop it, and you can use it to like actually get into really annoying places on the map, threaten the enemy team. It does all the things. Kraken is just like an Inkbrush plus. Yeah. Is how the special works. And so this is like an amazing special for Inkbrush. The issue is, the issue is twofold, first off. In Splatoon 1, Inkbrush is just Octobrush minus, where you have less range. Yeah, you also like extra shots to kill, and you can't run through enemy ink. Octobrush can't either, but Octobrush couldn't anyways. Octobrush has more painting range, more damage range. In Splatoon 1, Octobrush is just the better Inkbrush. And in Splatoon 1, vanilla Octobrush has Kraken. Yeah. I think it's Beacon Kraken. I used to call it the poor man's Kraken roller. I used to bully in private battles an Octobrush player. And this is the dedication. This is how dedicated I was to bullying. Was I'd memorize who on the top of the screen died, which squids on top of the screen corresponded to what players, so that I would ink strike the beacons they would jump to when they respawned. Which is dedication, and I'm so sorry by the way if you're watching. But this kit is amazing, with the only exception that it is just a worse Octobrush. Yeah. And the thing is that this kit, and thanks to there's a mechanic in Splatoon 1 called a damage overlap, which applied to Inkbrush and Octobrush, where you had a melee hitbox and a projectile hitbox, and they were supposed to be separate. They could overlap at times. With certain amounts of damage up, you could make it so that you could consistently reduce your shots to kill. This would make Octobrush go from like a 3-shot to a 2-shot, and sometimes Inkbrush from a 4-shot to a 3-shot. But it was a lot easier on Octobrush, which was more effective because going from 3 to 2 shots, that's like reducing your kill time by like 33%. And it was just, Octobrush was just so much better in Splatoon 1. I I cannot overstate just how good Octopath was, purely because Inkbrush didn't get its buff. And so this kit is great. If this kit existed in like Splatoon 2 or Splatoon 3, I would be putting it so much higher. But it's Splatoon 1, and I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
I can see that, especially with like Octobrush in the game having the same special. I feel like that's just to like what is it? Make Inkbrush look bad. Like here's the same kit but on a better weapon, sort of thing.
That's essentially what it is. The only difference it had is that it has a splat bomb rather than a beacon, which I'm sure has some uses somewhere. But just play Octobrush anyways. What are they going to do?
It's just
two-shot them.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of why I'm leaving it there. It is a light depletion Kraken. So was Octobrush. So it has nothing. It has nothing. Yeah. But that's all I have to say on that one. Because I stole your previous pick, feel free to rank your next Inkbrush. I think I know what it is, but feel free to rank it.
You know, actually, I think I'm going to go against what I said earlier. And I think... I'm debating whether I want to put permanent or vanilla Inkbrush next.
Okay. Interesting.
I think I'd do permanent, honestly.
Interesting. Okay.
But I think this is coming from like kind of I play a lot of Dapple Dualies, and I feel like it's the similar problem that vanilla Dapple Dualies like struggles with, is that its special is so important to the team that like it hinders Inkbrush from doing its main job. So like your Inkbrush wants to go in, it wants to die, it wants to, you know, take attention and like skirmish, but having ink armor for your entire team stops you from doing that so that you can farm that special before you go in. So I think it's like similar to vanilla Dabble Dualies, where your special is so important to the team that like you just can't do what your weapon wants to do effectively. Can I get what I'm saying?
I fully agree. That's what I was going to say with it. Stole the words right out of my mouth. I was even going to talk about vanilla Dapple Dualies, totally. Those weapons I don't play. But I do completely agree. Like the special is like so important. It's also weird that because like Ink Armor is one of the best specials to pair with Inkbrush. It has so much synergy with the main weapon because like you're a dodge tank, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Ink Armor letting you survive one extra shot makes you actually survive so much longer, practically speaking. That it is an amazing special to pair with Inkbrush. But there is no requirement that says Ink Armor must be on the Inkbrush itself.
Yep.
And so if you're going to run Inkbrush with armor, why bother putting it on the Inkbrush itself when you could use another kit that has better tools for doing what Inkbrush is supposed to do?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like you're better off. Like I think Inkbrush wants ink armor, but it doesn't want it in its kit. It wants it on its team.
This kit does have the bonus of being a kit that when Inkbrush can do nothing else, it can at least armor spam.
Yep.
Because there are some maps like Anchovy Games in Splatoon 2. Right, Anchovy Games Tower Control is a really awkward one for Inkbrush because every single defensive position, when you're pushing, every single position the enemy team is going to take is so high up and so far out of your reach that there is literally nothing Inkbrush can do. If you're using the vanilla kit or the nouveau kit, there is nothing that you could do. I remember there was a team that I was on and I loved the team name. We were called Gay VC, which was an acronym. It was just the start of all of our names. It just happened to work out that way, I promise. Where we would run triple missiles plus Inkbrush Nouveau. And this wasn't like some incredibly cynical take on all missiles are meta. It was for like maps like Anchovy Games, where if I can't reach that part of the map, I'm going to dedicate my entire comp to getting rid of them.
Yeah.
And so we'd spam missiles on their defensive locations so that they would be flushed out so that Inkbrush can actually do something about it. But if your team isn't willing to run triple missiles for whatever reason, Permabrush is an option. That's the one thing it has, which is why this is really close. I'm personally going to put Inkbrush Nouveau there, but because you said it's better than vanilla and you are the guest on the channel, I'm going to give you an extra weight to your decision.
Let's go.
I'm going to put it here, but know that I do disagree. Purely because...
Yeah. Splashdown.
Yeah, it's like, this kit is, like, it has the worst special that has ever been created, right? We talked about how Ink Strike was bad, but at least you could, like, stay alive when you used Ink Strike. Splashdown, you used it, you went back to spawn.
You're just dying for nothing.
Yeah,
like, you might as well just not use your special.
You're like, oh no, I'm being shot at. I'll use Splashdown. It's quicker to jump out.
Yeah.
Just jump out. It is such a bad special that I'm half tempted to put it down here, below Perma, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I just like it, honestly, I just like it better for the splat bomb. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Or even sometimes, like, I can get behind them on a flank and then just catch them off guard and use it. But, like, that's, like, the rare time Splashdown will work.
Yeah, it's...
And at least with this thing, I can go in knowing that, like, okay, I have Splashdown, who cares? I'm going in. Like,
yeah, and
I'm gonna
like,
die either way.
Over the course of Splatoon 2, they did give Splashdown some very weird buffs. things like they increased its vertical height to ungodly amounts for seemingly no reason. They made it so that it would immediately destroy bombs. That might have been in the base game. It might not have been. They made it so that it would immediately destroy bombs. They made it immediately destroy bubbles. They increased its paint. They made it like a really good utility special that would sometimes, more often than not, get you killed.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm remembering very specifically, unlike Skipper Pavilion Splat Zones, if you were pushing in, you'd go to the middle part of the map and you'd push down. And a very common way of doing that is with, let's say, Curling Bomb Rush on Sorella Tent or Silver Aerospray. You might use Bubbles from Squeezer, Kensa Jr., or any kind of bomb rush from like Firefin. And Vanilla Brush, if you knew what your opponents were going to run, Vanilla Brush was a very strong counterpick on that map specifically because you could use your bombs to like clear out the choke, make it very difficult to move. And then the moment they pop their specials, you splash down, you win.
Yeah.
Because they use their curling bombs, it doesn't matter. You've destroyed them all. Suction Bomb Rush, doesn't matter, it's destroyed. They use their bubbles, couldn't pop it in time, splash down, destroys it. And so it did have like some genuine, I'm talking myself into actually putting it here now. It did have like a genuine niche. It also like, I think, it has the same effect as the Perma Brush, where if there's nothing else you can do, at least you can throw bombs.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, splash down's an ink tank refill. Just like go behind a corner, splash down, pop back up, throw bombs again. And it's 150p as well. This is like the lowest points for special in the game. It's tied with, I think it's tied with Splatoon Undercover at 150p, which is stupid. Like their way of buffing Splashdown was by giving it so much utility and then just making every single weapon that had it 150p. But it's, honestly, I expect, actually no, it's Vanilla Carbon in Splatoon 3 at 150p as well. It's so tough. Why do they do this? They give things bad specials and then just say 150p, why not? Like, if
Might as well get more of them.
If they copy-pasted this kit in Splatoon 3, it would be top tier.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if they increase the points for special to 180, top tier. But it's just brought down by the fact that it's Splatoon 2 Splashdown. Yeah, okay. Who you ranked? Was it me who ranked that or you ranked that? It was me, wasn't it?
Well, I think it was you, but I would have put it in the same spot. Like, honestly, I would have put them both in that tier.
Okay, so I'm not sure which one. Okay, so it's your turn to rank. I'm not sure which one you're going to say, but I have a feeling, and I have a feeling I'm going to have to, like, argue.
Yeah, well, I think it's just that, like, so I would say the Splatoon to Inkbrush Nouveau, but I also think it's because I was playing it post nerf, and so I was having struggles. Like, I think my problem was that Baller kind of has the same problem that Reef Slider had, in that, like, everybody knows where the ball is going. Right? I'm gonna go towards like people, but then my explosion is so ungodly slow that like I'm just going to die here anyways. So I explode and then everybody just backs up and then shoots me. So it's kind of like with the Reef Slider where your end lag is stupidly slow that like you can just die out of it. Or you see like the trail where like the Reef Slider is gonna explode, so people just move and then shoot you after. I found a similar like situation with Baller, where it's like if I'm going to a certain location, they're like, oh, they're gonna explode when they get over here, or they're gonna explode soon, so we're just gonna back up and then like shoot them afterwards. And so I was like, I'm just dying with this thing like continuously.
Okay, that might just be a lack of Baller experience here, because I am
it definitely could be.
I could not disagree with you more, right? I think that Baller is the single best special Inkbrush has ever gotten. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said, you know what, Baller Inkbrush is better than Kraken Inkbrush. I might agree with them. I might, because this. Okay, crazy. I am fully overriding your decision here. I am taking full. This is my channel. I control this. It's also my screen that I'm controlling here. I think this is genuinely the best kit Inkbrush has ever gotten.
That's crazy.
Genuinely, I think it is. I want to say that this used to be 160p back in the day when I started playing it. It was a 160p Baller, and okay, like Inkbrush's game plan is always to like run behind the enemy team, get in awkward positions, and then just kind of stay there and refuse to move. Baller does exactly that, because you get into this weird, really annoying position. Enemy team shoots at you. You then pop Baller. You have a 500 HP shield, and they have to like throw resources at it or run away. And you talk about like how you try and run up to them, and then you try and explode, and they'd all just run away. And to that, I just say, well, yeah, but if you're running up to them to explode, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Because
you run up to them and then they run away. That's perfect. You can now herd the enemy team as you want with your special. You can move them around, you can get behind, and if they try and focus resources into you, they're doing exactly what you want them to do. Like, Inkbrush has not had a kit like this ever since like Splatoon 3 happened. I'm going to say it now, these other two kits are worse than Inkbrush Nouveau in every way. Other than maybe Vanilla having a bomb, but even then, I don't value bombs that much. And that's probably because this kit has the staying power that none of these kits have had since. That it has the staying power that I think Permanent Brush in Splatoon 1 had that makes it better than the rest, but still not good enough because it hasn't got its buff.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why I've actually kind of been trying to learn Decav recently, is purely because Decav can get behind them, set up Big Bubbler, and refuse to move. Something that Inkbrush just can't do.
Yeah.
It just plays so perfectly into Inkbrush's playstyle that I cannot see it be anything other than the best kit ever. Not until they either release Permabrush with Kraken in Splatoon 3 or Big Bubbler in Splatoon 3. Then it might, or if they give it Splashdown in Splatoon 3, it might, but it's going to be a really difficult, really, really difficult thing to do, to beat. And like another thing on top of that, this is one of the better Inkbrush's kit, one of the best Inkbrush kits, but this is also one of the only Inkbrush kits that's ever been a top tier choice in the past. I think when Pochar, but before Splatoon 3 came out, Pochar was going through doing like his final tier list for Splatoon 2, and he put Inkbrush Nouveau even after it got its point for special nerf, even after Baller got nerfed. It actually got a buff in that it got lightweight Baller, so it would move quicker.
Yeah.
Depending on who you asked, some Brush players would have said that was a buff, some would have called it a nerf. I'm pretty value neutral on it. I preferred it when it was a 160p Baller, but I can't lie that, you know, Brush does go quicker now. I'm happy. But in his tier list, he put like Inkbrush as a top tier. He said this is one of the best weapons in the game. It does so many good things. Okay, when I say top tier, I think he was like grouping the high tiers and top tiers. He put it S tier.
Okay.
He said this is, if you're looking at some of the best weapons in the game, Inkbrush Nouveau, it does it.
Okay, interesting.
He did put, I think, Permabrush slightly below. He didn't call it a top tier. He kind of called it like mid tier, but on the upper end of mid tier, because it's a brush. It's a good brush. Is a good main weapon. It's not as good nowadays because power creep, but it's a good main weapon and it has armor.
Yeah.
There's not really much to say about that. But I kind of talked myself into putting Vanilla Brush higher, so it's too late now. I'm putting it top tier because this is the only brush that has the results to prove it. There was an area cup actually back in 2019 that this is what got me playing Brush in the first place as well. It was an area cup where they ran double brush, tent dynamo, and this is the top level Splat Zones Japanese tournament, you know, where you expect the best of the best, and they're running double brush.
It seems like something my team would run unironically.
But like, it was a really good weapon at the time. This is the only brush that we have that actually has the results to prove that it is one of the best. Actually, no, there is a Splatoon 3 kit that also has similar results, foreshadowing, but I still don't think it's reached the same heights that Inkbrush Nouveau has. But yeah, I'm putting this top tier, and this is my channel and you can't stop me. I think it is definitely possible. This kit isn't perfect, but Brush has never really gotten a perfect kit, other than maybe Splatoon 1 Perma, but again, Splatoon 1, Lamau.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't not put it here. I will use all my executive powers. But because I did that, I'm gonna give you again the chance to rank the next one, and I promise not to override it. I promise not to argue. Do you want to rank your next brush?
Yeah, so I think you already know where I'm going with this one. I'm definitely biased because I do like the vanilla kit more, and so I would put the Nouveau kit. I think you know what? I think that they're both. I think they're both incredibly fine. I just think that they do different things. So
okay. What tier? What tier are you putting them in?
I put them both in A tier. I don't think that they're perfect.
Okay, let's start with Vbrush.
Yeah. So I put them both in A tier. I don't think that they're perfect. I think that they're fine though. Like I think they're both perfectly fine. I wouldn't say they're both bad. I think that they just have different playstyles. So I primarily play the vanilla brush, and I find that it's a lot more passive. So it's less aggressive. It has the bomb to spam. It has a killer whale that helps it push in, which I find is really good for aggressive play. So as soon as I get my killer whale, I pop it. Me and my team rush in with the whale. It's a good distraction. Basically, they either have to move out of the whale or face me. It's like a good, what do I do situation. Splat Bomb gives it a good poking tool, gives it more range than it normally would have, gives it some more paint. But yeah, it can be a bit passive at times, and I do fall victim. You've seen a lot of my gameplay where I fall victim to throwing a lot of bombs when I don't need to and staying back when I don't need to because I have these tools. So I think that it being a bit more passive is a bit counteractive to its playstyle, but also I think that it's a good option to have on certain maps when you can't just go in.
Yeah, it kind of has a similar issue that Permabrush has, but to a lesser extent, where your kit is fine on paper, but it then kind of pulls Inkbrush in this direction that the main weapon just doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
I do have an issue though with Killer Whale, which again is like similar with Permabrush, where it's an amazing tool that like lets you get in, but like, why does it have to be attached to the Inkbrush? Why can't I just put that on, I don't know, my tri-stringer or my 50? I see, if I have a tri-stringer, I'm putting them on Incline. However,
we run double whale. You know we pop our whales at the exact same time. Because I run a build where I run a main of special power up, just so I can extend my whale, so then I can, you know, use it more effectively in that. So, but that's like a personal preference.
Yeah, I do have a build where I like 2 sub special power just so that I can increase it slightly.
Yeah.
But that's only on maps where museum zones. It's only on museum zones and similar maps where there's nothing else I can do. What else am I supposed to do?
Yeah, we'll occasionally run it on, what is it? Like, we'll run my special power up build on something like Crab Leg. So, because we don't have anything that really counters a pencil or a Hydra. And so it's kind of my job to, farm whale and then get them out of position so that we can move forward. And since it's like, what, 160p? I
180.
Shit out whales.
It's 180.
Like, I can get, it's 180, yeah. I can get, like, what, 8 to 10 whales a game?
Yeah, it's so dumb.
So it's, like, I think it's good for that, like, on certain maps, map and modes where you have, like, a hard counter, something like Hydra or Pencil, that you can't get out of position very well or can't flank to get behind. I think it's good for that. But, yeah, it kind of hinders the kid a little bit in terms of, like, being able to go in and just, like, not care about your special or not care about your sub.
Oh, yeah, and, like, another issue that I have with this as well is why it's not, like, S tier is, like, with Inkbrush Nouveau, like, you have Baller, Splatoon 2 Nouveau. You have Baller, which lets you stay alive. Even with Permabrush, you have Armor that lets you stay alive. But this kit doesn't have anything that keeps it alive. Once you get in, it's really easy to get an Inkbrush out. Yeah. Because what can it do? It can throw a bomb at you and now it's out of ink.
Yeah, I was gonna say, drop a bomb and then it's like, oh, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, so, like, this kit is a good kit. It's a really good kit. It does have, like, slight synergies with Brush, but it's just not a Brush kit, which is why I can't put it any higher. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's, like, it's good, but I wouldn't say it's perfect. Yeah. Okay, Inkbrush Nouveau for Splatoon 3. I'm also putting in A tier. I personally think it's better than vanilla, but honestly, that's an opinion. That's all that is. There's no, like, objective. You could put this either way around. I could agree. But I'm going to put it here to respect your opinion. I promise not to argue, so I won't. Because I've been arguing too much. I've been overriding your decisions, and I can't do that. Okay, first off, we have to mention Hammer, don't we? We have to talk about how terrible of a special it is.
My special output matches my death output whenever I'm using Brush Nouveau. I swear. We have this conversation in my team all the time of, it's like 75% of the time I'm dying with the Ultra Stamp as soon as I pop it. And then the other 25%, I'm getting a triple. And there's like no in between. It's either I'm killing the entire enemy team or I'm dying immediately.
Yeah, Hammer it's one of those, I don't know how it made it to live, to be honest.
It's the special of all time.
It certainly is. I find that, like, I either have games where I get 17 deaths and 0 hammers, or I have games where I have 17 deaths and 17 hammers.
Yep.
You know, guess what got me killed?
I wonder. But no, I talk about this like all the time with my teammates or people who actually like especially Wiper is one where I have this conversation a lot where I'm like, if they just buffed it so you couldn't shoot through the hammer and actually had to counterplay it and go around, it would be so much better. And it's also good counterplay. It's like an easy way to buff the special. It doesn't destroy like the fact that you can just shoot it. But like shooting through it is just like, it's so lame. It's like, why do I get directed by a range blaster through the front of my hammer?
But like, I know why they're so scared to do this though, because it's so easy to shoot through hammer as a good competitive player with lots of practice. If you play turf war all day every day, it's not going to happen to you anywhere near as often.
Yeah.
And so it's like it would become like so polarizing based on skill level that I just don't think they want to do that.
Yeah, it's similar to like Splatoon 2 Splashdown, where like if I'm going into turf war with Sploosh and I'm using Splashdown, I'm killing them all the time. Like they're not they can't look up at the sky to shoot me. I would say, but if I go into like a competitive lobby or I go into ranked, like I'm immediately getting shredded in my Splashdown. Like no shot.
Every time. It's why they gave Splashdown so many utility buffs, where they gave it like vertical hitboxes that go to the heavens. They made it immediately like break bombs and tent shields, ballers, bubblers. They couldn't fix its main issue, because like its main issue was countering low level players.
But like even in low level, like I'm playing low level and I'm getting like two shot by a machine through the front of my hammer. I'm like, oh my god, how is this happening?
Yeah, so like Inkbrush, okay, if Inkbrush Nouveau, if it could block through the front, I would be half tempted to put it S tier behind Splatoon 2 Nouveau, because that finally gives it the staying power that it just hasn't had in this game. It could use that special to stay alive reliably. Because you can use it to stay alive. The amount of times I've popped hammer just so I can block Twizuka shots is hilarious. But also the amount of times I've died to Twizuka through hammer is also hilarious.
Yeah, really.
So...
I go to use it and I'm like, oh, I'm totally fine here. I have my hammer. And then I immediately get one shot through the front. I'm like, awesome.
It's amazing when like
this special.
It's amazing when someone like shoots you through your hammer, they weaken you, and then there's a bomb in front of your hammer that explodes. And this bomb has more kill range than the hammer because I was weakened. And it's just, I hate it. I hate the special. But in theory, right, let's take away all the terrible bits about hammer in practice. In theory, hammer isn't that bad of a special for Inkbrush. Because like you mentioned before how like that vanilla Inkbrush has a kit that just kind of pulls it in like different directions. How it's a good kit, but not a good Inkbrush kit.
Yeah.
It makes you play passive, it makes you waste your ink on splat bombs. You have a special with a 30 frame startup that takes you out of your run. It's horrible, it's fine, but it's not an Inkbrush kit. Inkbrush Nouveau doesn't have those issues because hammer is an Inkbrush kit. It's a special that lets you get in and then maybe stay in if it decides to work. But if you get in and you get ignored, you pop hammer, you get a triple.
Yeah, and I think hammer, like, it's good in some situations. Like, my team uses it a lot on Mako zones. Well, we'll just have me farm a hammer, go behind them right side if they're not looking, pop a hammer, they're all dead. They're not looking at me, right? Yeah. So there's, like, good niche scenarios where you can use it. But I find that, like, yeah, just, like, more often than not, it doesn't work. But I like the idea that, like, I can get behind and then I can stay there and be threatening, where the enemy team like has to look at me because now I hammer, I'm behind them, I'm gonna kill them, right? And so my team gets to move forward with that. Whereas like killer whale, if I pop my killer whale behind them, whoop-de-doo, like
now they know where I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like in theory, it's just a really good Inkbrush special. And like, I think the strongest thing about having hammer is when your hammer is ready, because now they have to look at you, regardless of whether or not like you're going to use it or not. You could just plan to like throw it the moment they use their grab, but it doesn't matter. It's ready. So now they have to pay attention, otherwise they die to hammer. And it does have the bonus of, it may be a terrible special, but the sheer amount of times I've gotten like crab kills by just throwing hammer, or oh, someone used their tri-strikes in range of me. Time to pop my hammer and shoot them with it. It's like, sure, I'm only getting one kill for my special at range, but what else was I going to use it for?
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
I have a special that makes me play this way.
At least I got the kill instead of dying with it in my hands, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, it's not ideal. And again, they've given some really dumb buffs to hammer. Same thing they did with, like, Splashdown, where they gave it, like, I think it was ×3 object damage to crab. So you can, like, break crab by just throwing hammer at it. If this was Splatoon 2 hammer, maybe up here, but it's not. So...
Yeah. Yeah, and I also, I don't mind. I'm not a huge fan of Inkmine, if I'm gonna be honest. I think it's there. It's not, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's not bad. I personally, I do like it on this kit for like putting it in spots where, like if we are like really far pushed up in the enemy base, sometimes I'll leave a mine like on the flank, and then that lets my teammates know behind me, you know, someone's there. So I like the location effect of it. It helps us all out in that situation. Or even just like comboing with it, like leaving one in their base, like in a spot I know that they're gonna take, and then, you know, going around that spot, getting them. So at least it's like a little bit more ink efficient than it is with Splat Bomb.
Oh yeah, like Inkmine has some like really unique synergy with Brush in that, first off, Brush doesn't care about its sub, so who cares? And second is that like with a lot of weapons like I don't know, Elite or Flingser, they have Inkmine. They put it on the flanks so that people can like, you know, they can see who's flanking, but they don't have aggressive uses for Inkmines. They don't put Inkmines in the enemy team spawn. Inkbrush can. Inkbrush can go to these really annoying spots, place an Inkmine, and it's just so annoying to try and push out against an Inkbrush Nouveau, because every time you try and turn a corner, go through a choke, do anything, your feet's painted, you're marked, you've taken 50 damage. And so you just don't expect that, because only really Inkbrush Nouveau is like one of the only main weapons that has Inkmine that can put it in those spaces pretty reliably. Like the same amount of times I'm like directly in the line of sight of like 3 players, I run up, place Inkmine, run away. I probably shouldn't do that, but it's funny.
Exactly. Well, I have I usually place them, like if I'm playing on Ramen, we get really like in their base. I'll usually place one like on the little tiny like right side before the drop. And then that way we know instantly, if we have to back out, we know instantly their entire team is dropping. And it's like only in that one spot that you're like, oh, nice. Huge.
Oh, I'll be honest. If I'm in their spawn with Inkbrush, I wouldn't even bother spending the time placing ink mines by the drop. I'd just place it on me. So if they try and drop on me, their feet's painted. But I'm also, I just use my ink mines very aggressively. But that's just a me thing. I'm just a very aggressive player. Which is also why I'd normally put Nouveau up here. But like,
Yeah, to be
But-
fair, I almost always forget I have ink mine until like we get some passive time, and I'm like, oh shit, I should probably place a few of these.
Oh, yeah, that's all Ink mine's for though, because Inkbrush is such a main weapon heavy weapon. Like I run like 2 subs into main my Inkbrush Nouveau because all I'm doing is running around. It's a really ink efficient weapon, but it doesn't matter because you're just using it constantly. And so having
well,
a
that's
sub
like-
weapon that you don't care about is fine. Like whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I literally stole your build, so like.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm running the exact
You're
same
welcome.
thing. I think the only difference on my build compared to yours is that I'm running comeback and you're running quick super jump.
Oh yeah, I have like a main QSJ.
Yeah.
I was tempted to go a main and a sub, but I thought that looks ugly. Vbrush, Nouveau, they're interchangeable. This list is ordered within tiers, so you know we're putting Nouveau below. But know that I do disagree. But I'm not here to argue with Chai.
Yeah. There's other brush players I know who would also like disagree with Nouveau being ahead, or like even like vanilla being ahead. So like it's really like to each their own.
I know Pochara puts vanilla slightly above. No, Nouveau slightly above vanilla.
Yeah.
But like.
But I think that's also because it won the area cup as well. But they had a really unique comp that.
Oh, I love that comp so much.
That was.
I love backless, colorless comps. It's so fun.
I was like, they're very like interchangeable in that way.
Honestly, I might say purely because of the current meta, Nouveau has an extra edge. Purely because bubble is everywhere. Mostly because bubble is everywhere.
Through the bubble.
You can stamp through the bubble. Yeah, there's crabs. Crabs are more prominent, and Killer Whale just doesn't match up well to crab. Stamp obviously does, as I've mentioned a few times already.
Okay, but like think about it. When me and our stringer player 16 whale the crab,
Honestly,
they aren't ready for it.
Okay, if you whale them from one angle and then the other person's at 90 degrees, where can the crab go? It's impossible to avoid. And honestly, you know what? No, you're right. Top tier.
Absolutely. It's amazing. No, the amount of times, I think it might just be a low level thing though, like where I just exclusively whale the crab and get the kill. It's so funny.
Yeah, I've never really had that happen to me. Like I whale a crab and they just move to the side.
Oh, I have it happen so many times. It's awesome. It's funny every time.
But okay, is this our final rankings? Are we happy with this?
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it.
Okay, and anything else you want to say before you go? Of course, subscribe to Chai, obviously.
Absolutely. I post gameplay, and that's pretty much it. Not just Inkbrush. Sometimes I'll play silly weapons here and there. I do like playing bad weapons. I'm not saying Inkbrush is bad, but it's not particularly great.
My feelings have been hurt. I might not upload this anymore.
But I play a lot of off meta weapons. Same with my team. We're very off meta, so I post a lot of that type of content. So yeah.
Whoa, amazing!
Like
Sounds amazing. Sounds really interesting. I think everyone listening should go subscribe to Chai now.
I like thank you for the plug.
No problem. I mean, that's why you're here, isn't it?
Exactly. True. So true.
Anything else you want to say before I stop recording?
Nope. Got nothing.
Okay, that's it. Everything's locked in.
Peace out.